Anger Management. I am your host. This is Sasha D over here. I'm in my office. So you can tell I'm about to just do some editing. So I'm about to put this video up. Now this video is another one of the top 10 movie villains of all time. You know, it had people wanting to do be a part of it. I had one guy. He was three. I'm sorry. I sent the invitation out. You know, there was Homer West. You've seen him on a couple of my episodes with anger management. I had Owen, my friend, Owen, longtime friend I've known as well. He was upset because I didn't send him the invite. Could have sworn I sent it to you, so I'm sorry about that. And then there's Forrest. He said that he wanted to be a part of it, but his girlfriend came in. You know, that takes precedent. When you're in a relationship, that takes priority. You got to be able to put your significant other first. If she's coming in from from out of town to come and visit you and spend time with you, have to do that, and I respect his relationship for that. But Owen and Wesley were able to sit down with me while we did this video, and Forrest sent me his list, so I read that on his behalf. These lists are interesting in that, about these movie villains. It lets you know where people think of the movie villains. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I said it when I read my list. I don't like the way how movie villains are now. To me, movie villains are now, they try to make them likable and lovable characters, and they're misunderstood, and oh my god, they did it because of love, and oh, they did it because they're trying to save the world. I have to destroy the world so we can recreate the world. F all that. To me, a movie villain is somebody who is somebody completely opposite of how the good guy is trying to stop him. The good guy's good natured. You have to respect that. But with the bad guy, he is the complete opposite, the polar opposite. And I really enjoyed sitting down with everybody who did that. From Rodney, from Our Relentless Destiny. I really appreciate him doing that. To Robert, again, I had Wesley, and Forrest, who also participated. Wanted to as well. And if you want to be a part of anger management, send me an email. The email address is angermanagement210@gmail.com. Follow me also on Snapchat, YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram. Well, and and if you're good, and if you want to, we'll get you involved and sit down as well. Until then, remember, when you watch anger management, you've been warned.
And how good was it? Was it hard? Was it hard?
To make the list?
Yeah.
Okay, you go first, Owen.
Yeah, I wasn't sure exactly which way I wanted to go with my list, because I was like, well, I could go with like horror, I could go with like the suspense, because it's just about villains. So I kind of did mine more on a broader spectrum instead of being specific to the movies. I still followed the criteria, but I picked like villains that made sense, at least to me, when I did mine. I can do a whole 100 list, to be honest with you, but I had to pick a couple that I knew would stand out in this one, and there was a lot of the guys that I actually thought about that were already said. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go a little off the cuff. I might use one or two that they did, but I'm going to go ahead and put some other ones that are a little off the cuff for it. And I think you guys are going to like this.
Yeah. What about you, Wes?
Mine, I just went, it wasn't like super simple for me, but it was all right, because I just went with basically viciousness and sadistic nature more than anything. And I figured that's the best kind of villain. So that's what I based mine off of. And
Nice.
A couple of them are hard. Like I had some that I took on and, took back off. But I actually am really pleased with this one.
Yeah, mine was the order. Mine was actually putting it in order.
Yeah. Well, I can switch ones around too, but
yeah.
Well, I got that, and like I was telling y'all a moment ago, Forrest, he wanted me to read. He wanted me to read his.
Okay.
And I thought that this was when I was reading it. I was like, wow, I can't believe some of these guys. Like I can't believe some of them. So I want to read his real quick,
Okay.
Okay.
and then I'm gonna let you guys read yours.
Okay.
So the list that he gave me was Ronald Lacey from Raiders of the Lost Ark,
Mm-hmm.
and he says he's a henchman, yet he steals the shell from the main villain,
Yeah.
Malik.
Not.
Um, he says Tony Fields from Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
Tony was a dancer playing a heavy metal star who turned into an evil spirit, solid moves, and hard rock anger. This one I think is funny. Lopan from
Really?
Big Trouble in Little China.
Really?
Yeah.
Lopan? Wow. Okay. Wow.
menacing, menacing and hilarious. Plus, you see him as an old man and as a badass sorcerer.
Okay.
He says Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. This is the
Oh.
performance that got him noticed. He's always good, but he was never as terrifying to watch as he is here. Bennett Lee of Evil. I'm butchering that word. Bennett. Sorry, I'm not even going to try. Of Evil comes to life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he says Ordell Robbie in Jackie Brown. My
Really?
favorite bad guy makes you like them. Jackson is hilarious and intense, arguably better than he is in Pulp Fiction. Um, Frank Booth from Blue Velvet, Pure ID. You, if you want to see rage embodied in a human persona, it's Frank. And here's another one. Owen, I think you're gonna love this one.
Okay.
Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street. Remember when they tried to replace him
Yeah.
and in the Freddy Krueger laugh? Ha 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 ha
Yeah.
ha. Okay,
Okay.
Biff.
Biff
Yeah,
Tannen. That's my
Biff
boy.
Tannen from Back to the
Back
Future.
to the
That is
Future.
my boy, though. He was a dick, though. Hold up. You got to give him that one. He was a dick. He really was,
Yeah,
man.
He was not a
yeah.
villain though. He was just a dick.
Biff was a villain. He killed his father. He did kill Marty's father. Then he also went back in time and changed everything so that he could, have a great future. I mean, it's kind of villainous.
Okay, so Back to the Future 2. All right.
Yeah.
I guess I can see it. Okay. Not 1, though. In 1, he wasn't a villain.
No, in
No,
one
he
he
was
was
just
just an idiot.
Yeah.
he said, yeah, he said that is the model for every bully performance from moving forward. He shows a range in the sequels and completely steals the show, which is true. Biff does steal it.
Yeah, Biff was. He made it more fun to watch it.
Yeah, he did. The Thing from James Carpenter, The Thing.
Oh,
And
okay.
I definitely agree. Yeah, it's a collection of performances and a whole lot of Bond's effects work. But the overall effect is a masterpiece and paranoid storytelling. Yes. And last but not least, which I think Rodney's going to agree with, Darth Vader. The late
Mm,
the late Prost gave Vader a body, but his voice is fucking hilarious. So they replaced him with the greatest radio theater performance of all
yeah.
time. No one
James.
will ever match that performance ever.
Right. Okay.
so how we're going to do it with you guys, I wanted to, we're going to start from 10.
Mm-hmm.
You both read your 10s and then go 9 and ever. It's not going to be like you all read your 9 and 10. But beforehand, before I do, you guys have any questions about Forrest's list? You guys disagree, agree, something like that?
I feel like his list was interesting. It was a little more off cuff than mine was, honestly. He picked a couple of interesting ones that I knew a good couple of them that he had on there, and
Yeah.
I didn't really. There was a couple that I knew of, but didn't pay that much attention to them. I didn't think they had that much of an impact. But
Right.
I mean, it's his opinion, you know. So I'm not gonna
Yeah.
go against his opinion. It's not too bad in my book.
Mhm. What about you,
Although
Mr.
Biff Tannen should have been like number 2 if you're gonna go with that.
Wes, you got any? Do you have anything to say about his list?
I mean, I never saw the thing, but
Mm,
Yeah.
I didn't want. I didn't
What?
want to go with monsters. Well, before and that's not off on a tangent. I didn't want to go with monsters or creatures. I just wanted. I mean, that's. I just my perception of a villain is a little different. That's why I was going with humans. You know what I
mm,
mean? But what
Yeah.
picking those, picking the people, the ones he did was fine. The Vader one, of course, everybody would go to Vader. I almost put him, but was he really a villain?
no.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, for me, what a villain is a person with evil intent. And maybe if you only watch the original trilogy, you could think that. But
Yeah.
realizing that he was just a conflicted man who was terrified of losing
Right.
his wife and his children, and he was doing whatever he had to do to keep them safe. And next thing you know, he's killed a bunch of people.
Right.
And he just had kind of had a psychotic break and was being manipulated by somebody who's essentially brainwashing him into believing he could save his family if he did everything he was told to do, which included
Yeah.
killing a bunch of younglings. But that doesn't make him a villain. I mean, okay, Palpatine is a villain, because
Yeah.
I
his
agree.
intentions are evil across the board. But Vader is just Anakin Skywalker
Mhm.
that is lost, and you see that in Revenge of the Jedi, and Return of the Jedi.
Right, because he did go back to being good at the end of it. So
Yeah, yeah, he
the
saved the
villain should stay a villain. Period. There should not be a chance to go back.
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, with
Yeah.
my list, not saying my list is better or different or anything. It's just with mine, that's how I felt. You're evil from the beginning, you're evil at the end. There's no redemptive qualities about you.
I was actually on that same path with you. So
I agree 100%. I think that when you're evil, you have, like y'all said, evil intentions. You just believe in being bad. You're bad, just be bad.
right.
Um, so, with that being said, I'd like to hear you guys' list. Let's go ahead and start with number 10. You guys let's start with you, Mr. Carter. Do you
Oh,
want to
okay.
go ahead and read your number 10?
All right. So my number 10 is Captain Hook. He killed
Which
Rufio,
one?
man. He killed Rufio. It wasn't right. He's fighting children to the death.
So the Dustin Hoffman version?
Yeah, I love
Okay.
that. I love that movie, man. It's one of my favorite movies for real. But
Yeah.
he literally is fighting kids to the death. What kind of jerk fights kids to the death? Don't tell me that when you watched that movie, you weren't a little sad when when Robin Williams ran up and was like, no, and Rufio was like, I mean, I laugh now, but back then I didn't laugh. But I mean, he's literally fighting children. I couldn't see anybody who could fight children and say that they're not a villain.
Yeah. I got you. I wouldn't have thought of that, but when you put it in that perspective, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. He's on an island killing children.
Right.
Okay, Mr. Morris, who do you have?
Oh, my number 10 is Angel Eyes from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Nice.
Van Cleef. But I went with Angel Eyes just because he's a sociopath, 100%. Right. He actually, the first time you see him, he just goes up to some family's house and systematically eats their food, mentally tormenting them, and then kills them one by one and rides away. And the next time you see him, he's beating the hell out of a woman right before, and then he kills the man who gave him the information, but he killed him because he saw his face. Nice. And like, what? Or no, what was it? It was because the guy gave him money to kill the guy who killed him. That's what it was. I said that wrong. I mean, he had no gumption. He just and then he goes into the war and he joins the military just to basically torture and beat prisoners of war and steal their belongings, whatever meager things they have. So yeah, he's pretty sadistic.
Wow,
I like that. I like that.
I like that too. Now I see. Well, if you got him right there, so your list is
your list is going to be quite interesting.
Yes.
I have a feeling we might have one or two of the same people on our list, and they might be somewhere else though. I have a feeling we do. Now I did branch off on a little bit of stuff too. Like my number 9, I kind of deviated from that.
And your number 9 is what?
It's Pinhead from Hellraiser,
Okay.
because Pinhead is all about torture and the pleasures of the flesh, which is really not pleasure. You know, he wants to hurt you. You know, and everything that he does is tormenting, whether it be good guy, bad guy, it doesn't matter. All he wants to do is maim, destroy, and then enjoy it for himself. That's it. That's all it is. Even to the point where he fought another protagonist, who was the doctor, and the doctor him had a big old fight, and he ended up beating the doctor. You know, and then he made the doctor one of his Cenobites.
Right.
So, you know, he prefers to do things for no reason. There's no reasoning behind it except the torture of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
yes.
So
Pinhead.
my 9.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Okay. Well, again, without going for supernatural thing, I went with the Man from Unhinged. I don't know if you've seen Unhinged yet.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Have you seen it, Sasha?
No, I haven't seen it yet. Go ahead.
Okay.
Explain to me.
Spoiler alert. The guy actually he just has a road rage incident, which seems like it would be a normal thing, but he goes a lot further than that. He actually steals her phone, tracks down where she lives. First, he kills somebody she knows because it was her lawyer, and he kills him in front of everybody in a restaurant in a vicious way, smashing his face against the table repeatedly. And then he says, "Do you have anything to say to him before the last thing to say to him?" And she's just like, "Please don't do this," something like that. He goes, "That was a wasted opportunity."
Right.
Smashes his head again and stabs in the base of his spine with a knife, and just kills him. And I was
All
just like,
because of road rage, mind you.
yeah. And then
All because
he
of
ends
road.
up going to the woman's brother's house. First, he just kind of like holds the girlfriend of the brother, and the guy is all scared. Someone's in the house. He's got a knife in his hand, and he essentially makes the boyfriend accidentally kill the girlfriend by pushing her against him. And so he's holding that knife. He's terrified. And then after he does that, he tapes that guy to a chair and covers him in freaking lighter fluid, light him on fire. And I'm like, Russell Crowe, what are you doing?
Right.
But it was that good of a performance. You just forget it's him. Plus, he's heavier than I've ever seen him before. So
Yeah, he gained a lot of weight for that.
yeah, but that movie was insane, and it was like it actually had a visceral response from people who watched it. At least in my house, we were like kind of gut wrenched by some of the things that we saw. So I can't not have him on the list as a villain. And he doesn't even have a name. He's just the Man. I mean, they give him a name, but I mean, he has an actual name. But in the movie, when you look at the credits, it's called The Man.
Right.
Now, that's weird that they would call him that. That's why I put that.
Wow. Wow, I'm going to definitely have to watch that.
Yeah, that's why I said spoiler. Sorry, it's an amazing movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'll watch it.
My number 8 actually goes kind of along those lines. I went with John Doe from 7.
Okay.
So he not only did he want to teach about the 7 deadly sins, but the cops couldn't even catch him. He had to turn himself in just to prove a point, which was one of the 7 deadly sins, which ended up being envy and jealousy. But he tortured all of these people just to prove a point. Nothing else. There was no, oh, these people hurt me. Oh, this is revenge. Nope, I just want to show you what the 7 deadly sins looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and stuff her face. I'm going to go ahead and make him starve. I'm going to go ahead and kill this person. That's it. Nothing else.
Yeah.
I thought, I mean, just the acting alone was great. And I had a couple of other ones that I was looking at putting in place, but I was just like, you know what? He made me believe like he was just way off his rocker. So I ended up going with John Doe.
Okay. What's your number 8?
My number 8, I just realized I said I only did humans, but that's wrong because my 8 is Clancy Brown, which plays the Kurgan in Highlander.
Yes.
And so
I love that movie.
Yeah, he's not a regular dude.
Fan.
I mean, the reason I picked him is because
not only does he do what he does to Connor's woman, but he
Mhm.
literally follows him, or Duncan's woman. I'm sorry. No, which one is
No,
it?
it's Connor. It was
Connor.
Connor's
It's
woman.
Connor, yeah. And he follows him through time, hunting him forever, and he will kill anybody at any time. He's just sadistic and evil. That's why I picked him. Now
Yeah.
I'm saying it out loud. I wish I hadn't put him on the list, but there it is.
Okay.
I forgot how sadistic he was. Just thinking about
Yeah.
the way how he just went around just killing people, just no apparent reason.
Although, even when I was younger, when that movie came out, I cracked up when he went and stole the car with the old people in it. I laughed at that so hard.
Oh yeah, mom and dad. Yeah, that's man. And while he's doing that, he's literally killing people driving down the road, running them over. And then I know at one point, she starts screaming when he kidnaps what's her name, and then he takes his eyes out the road and he starts screaming too. And it's just like
Right.
he's just over the top crazy, So that was.
So you want to hear something funny? My honorable mention.
Okay, so
my number 7 is actually Skynet, not the Terminator, actually Skynet. So because the criteria didn't say that it had to be specific to a movie, I decided to say, you know what? Well, I like talking about Skynet because Skynet was ruthless, made the Terminators that people picked on their list, like Sasha picked Terminator on his list. I just was like, well, I'm gonna pick the one that made them. Not only that, but Skynet also created the time machine so that they could go back to kill a kid, kill the mother. It even went as far as to change the actual savior of the human race into a Terminator.
Yeah.
So I felt like, you know what? Let's go with actually Skynet and do that one. So I made that my actually number 7.
What?
My 7 is Francis Dollarhide from the movie Red Dragon. That was Ralph Fiennes is the actor. In that movie, if you've never seen it, I mean, he's insane, of course, but he is a family annihilator. So he'll find a woman, and then he goes to that house and kills every member of the family first, including the pets, and then rapes and then kills the woman just to be with her. So,
Right.
I mean, and then he just goes about his day as a normal person, and that's just terrifyingly real.
Okay.
Wow.
My car just stopped working here. Hold on. So, yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I didn't care for that one. I mean, not care for. I mean, that's why I felt like he was a pretty sadistic villain. So that's why I went with him.
Well, what's funny is my number 6 turned out to be Hannibal Lecter. Isn't that funny? Since you did Red Dragon, my number 6 ended up being Hannibal. And the main reason why I picked Hannibal was he was overly intelligent. So with the things that he did, he manipulated a lot of characters. People will say, "Oh, he didn't kill that many," and I'm like, "No, but what he did made more sense." He manipulated a few people into killing. Like he was actually giving Wild Bill some of his ideas. If you really watch the movie, he was writing to Wild Bill. Then on top of that, Red Dragon was a spin-off of the Hannibal Lecter series, right? And then Hannibal actually had his own series. He converted an FBI agent. Even when he escaped the prison, like the way he escaped the prison was crazy. He killed the guard, took the guard's face. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And the best thing he did, which was the worst thing he did, was the rich guy that he was actually he was treating him, and then convinced him to scar his own face up.
Yeah.
So I picked Hannibal. I thought he should have made my list, so I made him number 6.
Okay, yeah. Everything cool over there, was?
Yeah. I was asking if Adri could hear it, but she has no, because I have the headphones on now. So
Okay. Hello, Mrs. Morris.
he said hello. Oh. Okay. All right, and then my 6 is going to be the Joker. Obviously, I'm wearing Batman shirt. And I went with all of them except the Jared Leto version, and frankly, also the Joaquin Phoenix version. Not because he didn't do a good job, just because there's nothing inherently evil about that movie until the very end. And then he's just, then he's snapped and he's become him. But all the ones before that, I guess maybe not the 50s one either,
but like the cartoon, of course, and then also the Jack Nicholson version, the Heath Ledger version. You know, they go up from there. Each one is worse than the next.
Right.
But yeah, he only really torments one place. You know, this one town of Gotham. But yeah, he's the Joker. Everybody knows who the Joker is. He's evil as hell.
I get that. I get that.
I agree with that one 100%. I like that. I think that Joker never realized how evil he can be until actually seeing that Heath Ledger version, and then hey, those DC movie cartoons.
Yeah.
They definitely show how evil he can be.
Yeah. One of the funniest things that happened was they had Martian Manhunter actually uses telepathy to control the Joker for a moment. And he said, I can't hold him for more than 5 minutes because his mind is so warped that it's messing me up. So how crazy is that?
Yeah, for sure. And for me, for all the different scenes, everything you've ever seen in the Joker, the thing that really brought home how evil he was the Heath Ledger version.
Oh yeah.
When he's just like, we're gonna have rapid expansion. We only have room for one, so we're gonna have tryouts.
Right.
And he breaks a pull cue and he says, "Make it fast." That's insane. Whichever one of you doesn't die is gonna be in my gang. And by the way, I just killed your gang's leader in front of you. You know what I mean? And it's that's just crazy stuff. So, and then when he does the thing with the pencil and everything, the tryouts thing was when I knew, okay, this is a badass movie and this is a badass Joker.
See, I like the fact that they have multiple personalities technically for the Joker, where there's the funnier one, there's the one where he thinks he's a clown but he's not a clown. There's the Jack Nicholson one, which was the first glance at a darker Joker. And Heath Ledger really did do a great job on his. I think
I love Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill's version of Joker is one of the greatest to me. It's right to me. It's literally Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson, Mark Hamill is the order. And there are times that Mark Hamill has given Jack Nicholson a run for his money. But just that because he's voicing it, you're not getting the full thing, and that's why Jack Nicholson always gets to be above him, in my opinion. But there is a guy on YouTube who actually broke down what if the Joker was multiple personalities, and these are the different personalities of Joker, and he broke down the actual different ones all the way back to Cesar Romero. He broke them each one down on why this is his personality and how he leads to where he is, including the point where Joker took over Batman's mantle for a little while.
Yeah.
And he ended up being a better Batman for a while. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. That is very crazy.
Yeah.
So who's your number 5?
So I went back to the supernatural part and I went to Freddy Krueger. And I'm gonna tell you why, because again, how petty are you that you're killing kids, okay? The parents find out you're killing kids, so they kill you. And now you're mad that they killed you, so now you want to kill more kids because of the parents. But you were wrong. Your sense of morality is so messed up that you're like, hey, how dare you kill me for doing what I did? Okay, now I'm going to kill someone because of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it's also funny, how he ends up getting beaten, but he's really never beaten. He's just stopped for a moment. But I just feel like you're killing kids, and now you're killing kids just because you're killing kids. So, and anybody who's just killing kids, I'm gonna put them on a list. Just like, geez, just kill the adults, don't kill the kids, man. God,
Is Pennywise on your list then? Pennywise on your list? Is Pennywise on your list?
Is Pennywise on my list? Nope.
Yeah.
No.
But he's
I was going to put him. I have honorable mentions. I was gonna put him, but I was like, you know what? He got his ass whipped by a rock. No. I can't do it.
Wesley, who's your number 5?
Michael Shannon in the movie The Iceman.
Iceman. Mm-hmm.
And that one is because the movie's good and Shannon does a good job, but that's real. Richard Kuklinski is a real man. I watched the documentary about him before they ever made a movie, probably 15 years before they made a movie. And they did a lot of a lot of actual kills that he had, which he had well over 100 something kills. So as far as body count in the real world, that guy had that many. And I don't know what they were doing with Chris Evans in the movie, but it was all right. I still got through that part of it. But that thing where they're in the club and they're like dancing around and stuff, and what they did with the little spray bottle of cyanide, that is exactly what the real man would do. He used to go, if he had to kill a gay guy, he would go to the gay bar where they would be dancing. He'd walk up right next to him, put that next to his mouth like he was going to go kiss him, and spray that in his face and walk away, and that guy would drop dead, and nobody would know why. I mean, he did that, and then the reason he's called the Iceman is because he wanted to confuse forensics, so he would literally put the body in the freezer and dump it a month or two later, and nobody would know the time of death. So he'd be covered, and and that's really what the man did. So, and he was a complete sociopath, and he had no remorse at all, and he really did have a wife and children, and he took care of them, but that was it. He just was. If you crossed him or you did something wrong, and whether or not you got paid, he's probably going to mess you up. But for the most part, he didn't really care about anybody and what they did. It was just going to work. That was his job, and the fact that his brain could disconnect that is just insane. But it's exactly what it was. That was just a way to earn money, and like they kind of show a little bit of it where he's literally just in that little warehouse chopping bodies up. Right. He really did that more than once, and didn't even bother him, didn't phase him in any way at all. It was just what he had to do to earn money for his family. So that's why that was why I picked him.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the part where I had struggled with that, because I thought about doing a couple of because we said movies, right? So I thought about doing a couple of documentaries like the Ted Bundys and John Wayne Gacy. I thought about doing that at one point, because if you ever watched those movies, sometimes when you watch those movies, you're like, Jesus Christ, this was actually real. Yeah. This actually happened. So I struggled with that, and then I said, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and stick with what I've been doing. So my number 4 ended up being Palpatine. I could never pick Vader. I would never pick Vader. Because there was a dude who was pulling the strings, and then you find out he was pulling the strings all the way from the first to the very last Star Wars movie. Now you find out he's actually pulling the strings for everybody, because it turned out he ended up training Snook. Nobody, everybody thought he was dead. No, he wasn't. He was still the Emperor. He was still doing the stuff he was supposed to be doing. He turned Anakin. The things that he did. How could you not? He was the ultimate villain in my book. Yeah. He didn't care about what you wanted. He was willing to kill his granddaughter. He's like, yeah, I don't like the fact that she's gonna have my power. Let's get rid of her too. Yeah. So so I put him as my number 4.
Do we have to talk about that down Star? Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and
the only thing I liked about
I'm looking at the character, man. I'm looking at Palpatine.
The only thing I liked about that, with what you were just saying about Palpatine, the granddaughter, was that meme I saw recently where they're at the circus, and when it's Palpatine and Anakin, and he's like, he goes, one day our grandkids are gonna make out over my dead body. And Anakin goes, what? And he just,
I've not seen
goes,
that.
What?
Now.
Yeah. And then Palpatine goes, what? You just had to see it. It's funny.
Oh, I gotta see that. Oh man. Oh man. That's
my number 4 is it's already been said, but that's John Doe from 7. Okay. And one of the reasons I chose him, a lot of the things you said, but it was the fact that he had a fat man eat himself to death. Yeah. And it was just the way that he killed people, by their own sin. He exacerbated their sin to make them die. And that was insane. And just what he does, never mind the fact, like you said, he didn't even get caught. He just turned himself in so that he could torment the guy who was hunting him by killing his wife, cutting her head off and giving it to him in a box.
Oh, what's in the box? You know what I mean? That's gonna go down in
that was
history.
a crazy scene. And then to find out that he didn't know that she was pregnant,
Yes.
you
I
know,
mean,
and
all of
he
that
let himself be captured because he wanted to do another sin. That's
to be
why.
killed. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
He knew he was gonna. It wasn't like he was trying to get away with it. He was
Right.
just there to be. He knew that was going to happen. He did it on purpose just to make that happen.
Yeah.
That's over the top insane. So that's why I chose him.
Totally understand. And even in your pick for your number for it, like I was like, you know what, I should put him in my top 5 too. I really thought about that too, and I was like, I got a couple of other interesting ones, so why not? Right? But yeah, I understand why he's on your list, man. I can
Yeah.
watch that movie over and over again and still be like, geez, he's crazy, you know?
Yeah.
So
Raw number 3.
yeah, Michael
Four.
Myers.
Oh, sorry.
And
3.
I picked Michael Myers because technically Michael Myers can be realistic too. You can have a Michael Myers, right? I don't know why they don't shoot him in the kneecap and then cut his head off. But hey, they want to keep shooting him in the chest and he keeps living. Hey, you know. But my thing with him is he started killing when he was 6 to 8 years old, you know, and he's been killing. That's just it. He's killing. I actually liked the Rob Zombie version of him also. I like the darker. Well, see, here's the thing, right? Let me tell you why I liked it. I liked the realism in the killings, is what I liked.
Okay.
I liked the realism in the killings. Now, the backstory was a little, come on, man. But I get it. I enjoyed his backstory in the insane asylum. I did enjoy that part. But the other stuff with the mom was a stripper, and I didn't that made no sense to me. I couldn't see that being his reason for, I got the tormenting part where people were tormenting him also because he was a weird kid, and I get that. But I liked the fact that when he was killing, you actually heard him grunting, which means he was trying to do it. You know what I mean? It wasn't, they made him more realistic with that, but he just was crazy. And he was like, I'm going to kill my family. I'm gonna kill everybody. And that's it. I just have to kill. There's nothing else behind it. I just kill. I'm dark like that. And so that's why I put him at my number
3. Wesley?
My number 3, it's going to be more of just the acting than anything for this character, but Robert De Niro as Max Cady in Cape Fear.
Ooh, he was on my list too.
Like that. Yeah,
he was on my list too, and I took him off.
And for plenty of reasons, obviously, we know the fact that he just does what he does to what's his name's assistant, that he's having an affair with just to do it. But more than anything, he was a villain, and he was terrifying when I saw him when I was little, because of that scene where they have those guys go jump him, and he beats them all down, and then he just starts talking shit.
Yeah.
And he just, counselor, like that. And you're just like, ooh. And just, that scene was just like too much for me. Even as a kid, I was like, that was insane. And then just his eyes in the water and everything, the way they did that, it was a throwback to the original movie. But yeah, Robert De Niro, the way he did that movie. I mean, the fact that The Simpsons parodied it just because of how important and how that movie was so amazing. When Sideshow Bob doing it, the whole scene, the tattoos, everything.
Yep.
I mean, they totally copied that just because of how awesome the movie was. So yeah,
really awesome. You're right about that.
I like that one. That's a good pick.
Yeah.
Too. My number 2 is actually the Joker. That's what my number 2 is, and a lot of it for the same reasons that we discussed. So, the thing that people don't always look, because I'm a huge Batman fan, so I'm loving the shirt. I have the same shirt. A lot of people don't give Joker the credit of being almost Batman's equal at times, because Joker is extremely intelligent. He's extremely intelligent. He's a chemist. He like, you have to remember, they always just think about how crazy he is. And I'm like, yeah, but he's so crazy that he's actually smart. And when you watch Dark Knight, for example, and you see what he does with the school bus, that's still hilarious to me, how he had everybody kill each other so that he ended up in the school bus and drives off. And he's like, hey, are you the one taking care of the school bus? He's like, what school bus? Like, yeah. I mean, that was crazy and ingenious at the same time. So that's the reason why I picked him, was just sometimes you have to realize that crazy is not as crazy as you think it is. And then the fact that he just wanted to see the world burn. There was nothing else. When he explained to Harvey Dent, hey, dude, I'm just doing what I do. And it's not my fault that your stuff falls apart on you. You guys do this. I'm just trying to, I'm a dog trying to chase a car. I don't even know what I'm going to do if I catch it. Like,
Right.
True. All of their stuff turned on him. And the fact that his only reason for being obsessed with Batman is wanting to see if he can get Batman to break the one rule that Batman won't do.
The kill.
Right. No, it's not, and that's not the rule. It's not the killing. It's the going beyond what his moral is. That's the problem. Will he break his own morals? That's what he's trying to get him to do. Right. Just like if you watched The Killing Joke, the fact that he got him to laugh in itself is funny. Mm-hmm. So it's just, I'm a huge Joker fan too. You liking Superman though, Sasha? That seems like the hero you would like. So
fuck you.
That's fine.
So my number 2.
Okay.
To get off of that, I think we can all agree Sherlock Holmes, as far as literature is concerned, is the greatest detective ever, the smartest man with the best perception skills we've ever seen, and yet the only way he could ever beat number 2 was by killing himself, which is Moriarty.
Man.
And after every time you think that Sherlock's going to be ahead of him, he's already a step or two behind him. And then, and especially, and never mind just in the books and everything else, but just that movie, the second movie, when you're watching him and he's doing his thing, he's like, I'm gonna kick his ass. This is how I'm gonna do it. And then all of a sudden they switch to him doing the same thing back to him because you think he's the only one who can play this game, and you're like, crap.
Right.
And he's like,
that's exactly how I felt when I watched it.
Yeah, and the only way that he can beat him is just like, well, let's just kill ourselves, But then, at the same time, I say that Sherlock was already planning for it because as soon as he saw that thing helps you breathe underwater, he pocketed it because he thought maybe that's what it would come to, I guess. But just the whole thing was that was such a good scene, and he was just, he didn't care who died or who lived. It made no difference to him. He just had a goal, and whatever his goal was, he was going to find a way to achieve it, and that's insane. But yeah, he was an amazing villain, both in literature and in film. So that's my number.
Did you like the character of Moriarty in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
I didn't watch that movie.
Oh, okay.
I for whatever reason, I just looked at it and just go, no. And I'll look at that. I look at that movie and I'll always say that was Sean Connery's biggest mistake because he was supposed to be Gandalf. They wanted him as Gandalf, and he's like, I don't want to commit to live in New Zealand for a year or two or whatever it was. And I'm going to go do this movie called League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and that was it. He never made another movie, unless you count where he was the voice of some sort of Scottish tugboat, which he did do that, an animated movie. But he's like, I'm a tugboat. Look at me go down the water. And it's like, wait, what? It's like, were you falling far, Sir Sean? So I never saw that one. But
okay, and now we got you guys as number 1. Who is your number 1? I'd love to hear this, Mr. Carter.
So again, since we weren't stuck with just picking a specific movie, I went with Dracula. And the reason why I went with Dracula is because he's, his backstory is supposed to be that he was Judas, right? He's supposed to be Judas and supposed to have turned on Jesus, and his punishment was to become, the creature of the night. And all his whole mission is to kill. That's it. Yeah. His whole mission is to kill and to actually just go against the word. That's it. So the whole time, for centuries, all he's doing is killing people, turning people, killing people, turning people. And he doesn't care. He doesn't change. There's no good in him. There's no bad in him either. He's just, hey, I'm doing this because this is what I do. I don't care.
Okay.
So that's why I picked him as my number 1.
So we're not going to go with Drax from Blade 3, right?
You know what?
No.
I want to fight you so bad right now.
Yeah, for me, I would say the same thing about Dracula Untold, because that's a great movie.
Yes.
But that totally changes it. It makes he's an anti-hero. He's not a villain in that one. So that's why you can't include that one, because It's totally different timeline, dynamic, everything. He's basically the hero forced into doing something terrible.
Right.
But yeah, the way you just with the Bram Stoker and all the other stuff, yeah, I get it. That makes a lot of sense. So for me, number one is one that's already been said, and that's Hannibal Lecter. And the reason I went with Hannibal is because of the multiple films that he was in. You see the sedition, you see how our sadistic nature, I should say, but you see that there's nothing scarier than being killed and then knowing that parts of your body are going to be eaten by the guy who killed you.
Right.
And the only reason he got caught is because he was careless in his own home, and he invited the man who was investigating him beyond the fact that he was helping the man investigate himself. I mean, that puts it way up at the top for me with being a villain. You're so confident that you invite the FBI special agent into your home and have dinner with him on more than one occasion, trying to help him figure out who the killer is, knowing the whole time it's you. I mean, that's over the top. And then that's Red Dragon. You know what I mean? That's when we Red Dragon. But then of course you see him in the cell in Silence of the Lambs. Because I mean, I've listened to both the books too. The books are equally as amazing.
Yes, they are.
Just the way he acts in Silence of the Lambs is over the top crazy. But then you got Hannibal and just disemboweling that guy and throwing him over the side of it. And just without any kind of, there's no rage. You never see real rage beyond the movement and the action. Once that movement and action is done, he is calm and composed. And then, he's such a crazy villain because his love for Clarice, he sees that the only option he has is to kill her and chop off her hand so he can get away. And instead, he chops off his own hand. Let's not even talk about the fact that he was making the dude's brains while the dude is still alive in a chair.
Right.
And he's cooking him up and feeding his own brains to the guy.
Right, but also offering her some. Remember, he offered her some.
Oh yeah, to her. And he also gives it to the kid on the plane.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. To me, it's Hannibal. That is just. I mean, he's eating people for Christ's sake. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I wondered if he was going to be on your list and where he would be. So I figured so. After I started hearing your list, I was like, yeah, he's going to probably be on your list.
Oh yeah. 100%.
You know who I have an honorable mention for? John Lithgow. His characters in Ricochet. And Cliffhanger. Cliffhanger was not a good movie, but his character was so good. You know, like when he shot his girlfriend, was like sacrifice. You know.
Yeah. My only issue with him in Cliffhanger was, what accent are you doing? It wasn't British. It's like it wasn't American. I was like, where are you supposed to be from? What is that accent? And in Ricochet, he is amazing in that movie.
Yes,
that's a badass movie. If you've never seen it,
and I almost put him on my list. Like I said, I have a few honorable mentions, but it's so crazy. Like his characters actually made me panic a lot of times when I was watching Third Rock. Because I'm like, man, you guys better chill out before he kill all of you. He's gonna kill all of you, you know. So,
yeah. I hear you, but for me, every time I see him, he's always and forever will be George Henderson. That's it. That's my number one thing for him is George Henderson. So my name is George Hen, and that's all. Yeah, that's him. That's
George. That's what I was supposed to say right there. George who? George Hen. Okay. Wes, would you want to give us an honorable mention?
No, I don't have really an honorable mention. I guess no.
Okay.
I made my list. I'm sticking to
it. Oh, guys, I'm glad that I was able to get with you. Have you guys were able to wanting to be able to read your list. I appreciate it. I hope next week. I'm going to say next week around this time we're going to do one. I'm going to put out a poll tonight and ask what you guys want to do. And then we go ahead and have all week to be able to work on it, so you guys don't have to struggle at it.
Okay. Well, I can tell you what my vote will be for that already. I was going to tell you mine would be a top 10 anti-heroes.
Oh,
those are some of my favorite characters. Yeah,
I had the same idea. Nice.
Okay. Well, then I'll put it all out there as well. And if you guys,
you got 2 votes right there.
Yeah. You got two for the anti-heroes. Okay. Well, go ahead and go with that. Go with that one also. And maybe one day, if after we do a top 10, I'd like to have like a forum and talk about movies. I know Rodney was talking about he wanted to talk about the Star Wars franchise. You know what we're thinking about that. So if you guys want to be able to sit down and talk about that, also let me know. Okay.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, man. Well, I want to thank you guys for sitting down with me and being able to give your list. I appreciate it. My phone is like at going to be on 4% right now, so
Yeah.
I'm sitting here looking at it while I'm on the phone, like, man, please don't die. I mean, while we're going through this. But hey, let's do this again. I appreciate you guys sitting down with me on anger management.
All right, man. Appreciate you having us.
All right, hey, guys, y'all have a good night. Okay.
All right.
You too.
All right.
Yes,
later.
sir. All right.